D plus choose blue side. So here we go again.
Arona.
A lot obviously removed in terms of 80 carry power. The Yunara and the Corki gone, the Ryze is gone, but the Orianna, the Azir, the Malphite, if these teams still think it's viable. I'm kind of feeling a little bit low on it after what we've seen.
Kiana First Pick finde ich verrückt. Weil die haben ja First Pick, das heißt, die könnten easy Malphite slammen hier.
And the biggest thing for me, you know, the Ambassador was such a huge powerhouse alongside of the Lulu, but just the way that Lucid played it as well was really top tier. So
Hast du einen Eiskaffee mal probiert? Ich trink keinen Kaffee. Also, nein, habe ich leider nicht. Sorry. Aber du darfst gerne probieren und mir dann Feedback geben. Ja, das erste Spiel, honestly, ein ziemlich harter Stomp. Early Game war ziemlich fein von DNS. Aber danach ein harter Stomp.
Kiana has not been played this tournament, and LeBlanc has been played.
Jace ist so stark, Jace ist komplett OP, ja.
Jace has been banned by everyone.
Ja, wir haben Game 3 verloren.
Surprising, but yeah, I feel like Lucid was definitely one of the biggest winners of the everyone can be a jungler, the final patch of 2025 patch.
Also Team ist nicht First Pick, ohne Plus, könnt ihr auch Red Side wählen. Ihr könnt auch Red Side wählen. Also wir könnten theoretisch DNS die First Pick haben. Und dann könnte DK immer noch Red Side wählen. Ist möglich. Wir hatten es auch schon mal, dass Teams Red Side gewählt haben, nachdem die Gegner First Pick genommen haben. Ist nicht die One-Smash bei Demon? Ja, ist es. Mit oder Jungle Jace ist OP.
So what are we going to see here? I mean, when I think of an Akali ban, I think of Azir primarily. And he was already banned, though, instead. So what is Showmaker cooking? Is the real question.
Yeah, I mean, Closer's very good at the champ, so might be a little bit of targeting as well. In terms of stuff we have seen that has not been, you know, stuff like Ryze, Azir, Orianna. You mentioned the Sylas already, the LeBlanc. We saw it once, it was banned. We'll have to see just how deep they are going to go.
Malphite komplett ignoriert. Also Silas ist nur offen. I get it. Aber trotzdem komplett ignoriert bisher. Interessant. Oh, okay. Aber gibst du Silas dann? Wirklich? Wirklich? Okay, wollte gerade sagen. Also, das fände ich, also Malphite hier auf 2 finde ich fatal, weil dann kommt halt Silas plus X hier. Das heißt, plus alle Carry-Antwort. Nicht gut. Vor allem mit dem Blockman.
Having a front line doesn't necessarily do as much for you with 80 carries doing so much damage right now. Is Closer just gonna slam the Syndra after they lock in the Scion, so kind of a little bit up in the air with this.
Syndra-Pick mit LeBlanc-Ban.
But it doesn't have great synergy.
Maybe eine kleine Showmaker Zoe. Oder Ari. Ari?
Pretty far away from all of that.
Yeah, I don't think they're too worried about that at all.
Ich bin auf 3, okay.
Something we've seen many a time into Scion is
sind schon viele Midlane-Bands.
Up here and does feel like one of the champions that can get a good amount of usage out of some of the
Ari, Victor, sowas sehe ich. Aurora eventuell noch, aber not sure wie das Matchup ist. Ich glaube nicht so geil.
There's been some experimentation with items even like Dusk and Dawn for Gwen that was really popular at the very beginning of the patch, but has fallen off a little bit in solo queue. You'll see what his game plan is going to be. This is pro, so it's a little different. As now you take away the Ezreal, which has been relatively safe into Varus thus far, and is just one of the safest picks on the patch in general, even though he doesn't have the same early spikes a lot of other 80 carries. The Bard is taken away, so basically saying we do not
Ezreal Bard nimmt noch Jhin raus.
Sheer with the pick that we are looking for. And I mean for
Jhin oder Sivir hätte ich jetzt gesagt, Bann.
The Yunara
für DK.
the Zeri kind of fits the bill
Mel.
in terms of
auch mögliches Matchup gut gegen Syndra, weiß ich nicht.
something that's going to scale incredibly well.
Okay, Sivir raus, heißt Jhin wäre offen.
Because the Syndra just isn't going to have the same damage output as a lot of other mid laners would have. So Duckdom is going to be the main damage there because they're.
Ist Channel Top nicht gut? Haben wir auch schon gefragt öfters, warum man der nicht gespielt wird, weil in Solo sieht der immer relativ fein aus. Könnte ich dir nicht beantworten.
Could have had a similar issue where it's not a lot of consistent damage, it's a lot of burst, it's a lot of setup, but instead he went for Syndra, which really threw me for a curveball. Do they ban Braum here? No, it's just going to be the Nico.
Yeah, Nico's still available, even though it went super deep in this draft.
Well, jetzt die Frage, nimmst du Karma auf 4 oder gehst du für Midlane?
Even though he's a really oppressive champion, solo queue, he's
erneut Zoe, Ari,
as an engage tool in
Alsaha.
As you know, we've
Small der Engel. Ich habe an Jhin gedacht, eventuell. Habe an Jhin gedacht. Oh, das ist cool. Das ist sehr cool.
It's happening.
Matchup ist super gut.
Yeah, so Echo, one of the long-time counters to Syndra, because she presses R and then you press R, and it gets totally negated. Echo, we've been seeing a lot of interesting builds with also...
Ist die Frage, ob er Hail of Blades geht.
...where he can just EQ and it does an insane amount
Jin Ash, ja.
Also mein CC setup is incredibly strong as well, and the survivability is off the charts in the mid lane compared to what you'd have in terms of...
Ja, gehst du jetzt Karma? Gehst du Seraphine? Gehst du Karma? Wahrscheinlich Karma.
Tier 3 boots for free and additional recall on top of your already strong safe side lane, and you've got the Xin Zhao on your corner, you've got the Gwen on your side. They can play the map so incredibly well, which is why I like this Pantheon here as a final lock-in.
Ja, das Problem ist, was ist jetzt, wenn jetzt, also, Braum ist ein ziemlicher Turbo-Pick, oder nicht? Okay. Well. So, aber jetzt kommt Karma, Last Pick, oder nicht?
LCK Cup 2026. It's one of the strongest Braum lanes you could ever ask for. Level
ja, okay, also das ergibt gar keinen Sinn. Das ergibt gar keinen Sinn. Die Sache ist, hätten sie jetzt hier Panther, ich glaube, die hätten Karma picken sollen, Karma oder Seraphine. Weil hätten sie Pantheon gepickt, wäre hier Braum Last Pick gekommen. Jetzt mit Braum Last Pick kommt Karma, das ist nicht so geil. Rakan auch gut. Rakan auch gut. Ja, 2 Minuten zum Voten. Viel Spaß. Viel Spaß.
They will have to get through the front line of that Jarvan and Sion to get to the Ashe there at the end. We'll see what build we see from Ashe as well. We've seen a lot of different techings. We've even seen like Essence Reaver come back a little bit on Ashe. Vandal Pipes, you gotta imagine, is for my man Braum in the bottom lane. It's time to pull him out.
Yeah, Bard's not the only one who can play the pipes, and neither is Nautilus in the jungle. We've been seeing a lot of usage out of that item on specific champions.
I think Valdez, since
I... Das für T1, oder? Ganz bestimmt. Ganz bestimmt. MTM Mages Bot sehen. Ich finde auch, dass Six zum Beispiel auf Botlane super strong ist. Ich könnte es dir nicht sagen. Ich könnte es dir nicht sagen, weil tendenziell die Teams halt eher weniger experimentieren.
We've heard rumblings of this. We've heard rumors of this.
I think Faker was the last one to play it, which was a long time ago. Like, that feels like 5 years ago.
I want to say there was like a brief period where maybe Canyon played it once in my first year of LCK when AP Jungle was a little bit of a thing, when we had like Talia Jungle and Lilia was still strong. Lilia's still strong right now, by the way. We haven't seen her yet in the LCK, but I digress. I'm loving this draft here, 4D+. I think this draft is very situational, very single target blow with the Ashe, the Syndra, the Jarvan here.
Ja, Bottom Matchup ist, honestly, jetzt ist es fein, dadurch, dass Rakan gepickt wurde und nicht Karma.
Here we go, match 5, game 2. Already almost halfway through the first week of LCK Cup. And Showmaker's playing Echo. Hasn't taken very long.
Geht Hail of Blades, das sind diese Early Trades, du skillst eher auf Level 1 und versuchst dann deine Passive geblockt zu bekommen. Geiles Level 1. Wieder Lethality aus außerdem. Grrr.
Yeah, we see heal used at level 1 almost every game. Right now, it's just so important to get control of that wave and get level 2. And after you get stunned like that, you want to get some of that health back.
Ja, daraus bis Bot den Quest fertig hat, 13 bis 15 Minuten.
And the flash build, they're looking for the stun on the smash. He's going to flash away, just showing immense respect. Did not want to take much more.
Early Cases sind so 11 Minuten, aber das ist so richtig früh.
Anyway, luckily none of these minions have died yet, so Smash won't be denied too many of them, even though he has been denied access to this lane.
Yeah, he does have teleport.
Aber da kann man dann 6 Items kaufen, ja.
How tough this lane is going to be to play out. That's going to be really nice for him taking barrier here.
Was mit der Lucian und Aphelios sind die nicht mega broken? Ja, aber Lucian und Aphelios beide schon genervt.
Yes, yeah.
Und in der LCK defaulten die sehr viel zu Varus momentan.
Yes. Echo was
Aphelios für DNS zum Beispiel wäre ganz geil gewesen, aber dann hast du halt das Problem, okay, gegen Varus ist es nicht so nice. Rein range-technisch, aber gegen den Rest von der Comp super.
There was someone in the crowd yesterday that was like, we're just fans of Arcane. Like, we don't even know much about League. We're just here, please play the Arcane champs. And I don't think they did.
Yeah, not as much as when Vi suddenly became popular around the same time as -1 here for Xiu in this matchup so far. I'm really curious to see what build he's going to go for, because we have just been seeing little bit of Riftmaker and Nashor's Tooth and boring, normal Gwen stuff, but some messing around with some of these.
War es nicht gerade noch gebufft? Ja, aber On-Hit war es.
See if he does end up.
On-Hit war es, wird gebufft. Wenn ich mich recht entsinne. Also der W On-Hit Damage wird gebufft und noch irgendwas.
It's kind of a Spellblade.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. I mean, it kind of is. I don't know if it's actually infused with magic, though. You know?
Yeah, it just doesn't have a Spellblade effect. You know, it's not a sheen item, not a sheen item. So
you got to be careful with what names you use for stuff when everything's got a keyword nowadays. As the slows are coming in, they're looking for
Smasher kein Flash.
He doesn't have a flash.
Ist tot oder nicht? What the fuck?
Oh, Lucid pops out of the bush.
Ist trotzdem tot oder nicht?
And Pioshik is pretty late actually to the party as first blood will go over to Rakan.
Oh, Pioshik, nicht Ikun. Oh nein, er committed hart. Oh nein.
Drag will get the kill, but now Pioshik.
Oh, Pioshik.
The TP is coming in and Showmaker says, give me that kill right now.
Ich frage mich, ob der richtige Play gewesen wäre, auf ihn drauf zu flashen und raus zu Ikun. Oder ob er da immer tot ist.
And they can actually send Smash
ja, tough.
To catch this wave. This will, of course, kind of mess up a little bit some of the quest, but it's not going to matter too much in the short term compared to what they get or too much in the long term compared to the lose in the short term here to patch the hole, as Showmaker will push the wave in bottom lane and then they'll swap back. So this ends up being a pretty big win here for D+. Very aggressive teleport, but I think
eine Wave von der Quest jetzt natürlich.
Smash did opt for the summoner himself.
Aber ist gut für Lane Assignment.
We were kind of left in the dark by our observing team on that one.
Q-Base nämlich auch plötzlich mehr. Oh, okay.
It's one of those moments where it feels cinematic, and it's the exact feeling that DNS had at that moment, where they thought this is a shoe-in.
Yeah.
And then out pops Lucid. So taking a look at this.
Gutes Spectator Work außerdem. Sehr gutes Spectator Work.
Sees the all-in coming through. They get the knock-up on the Duck Dom. He bides his time. Has double buff here. And then Smash lives for so long. The slows are so frustrating. Life gets flashed on. Smash is dead, but Showmaker knows that if he buys enough time here...
Oh, wahrscheinlich wäre Pioshik so oder so gestorben. Wenn er wieder für einen Kill geht, ist er so oder so tot. Auch wenn er drauf flashen raus sieht, gut. Ist er, glaube ich, trotzdem tot. Immer noch kein Flash auf Smash noch.
Smash in career still struggling to try to farm. Although it looks that way, he's still ahead on farm just slightly, so going to be pretty nice, and every single bit of damage they can get into them is going to make it much more annoying for Smash and Career, as Career will have to hit those Gleaming Quills as much as possible.
You know what's interesting is
wird auch immer schlechter, ja, aber ich glaube für eine ganz lange Zeit ist Sion einfach okay.
Champions picking
meine ich.
In the top lane. Like you think, oh, Gwen is so good with that, so I might have to hold my thought on this before we get too deep, because we might have a scuffle over this dragon.
Was kauft schon? Okay, das Dusk und Dawn First? Sieht danach aus, oder? Weil Rocket Belt ist es nicht. Raw of Ages wird es nicht werden.
Yeah, it's going to be a similar situation here, you have to imagine.
But in fact, both sides just kind of back away and elect not to take the risk.
Showmaker, in fact, did not skill his ultimate.
Yeah. You gotta wait and not show it, and then right at the last moment you skill it up.
Der Echo spawn alle Dusk und Dawn First. Ich habe noch keinen Echo gesehen in Solo Queue. Doch, ich habe einen gesehen und der hat es nicht gekauft. Bis drittes Item.
So, that's the wise.
Aber es war auch im Jungle. Also auf Lane weiß ich nicht. Bin ich überfragt.
She could win this lane even harder if she has Ghost or Ignite. But the trade-off, when you're already winning the lane by default because you're laning into a Scion, is that you lose a massive shield. And that shield that he's going to get later on is going to be incredibly powerful in team fights. So what he could have done was try to opt for the short term, but he is definitely playing for long term here, as he is going to use his other summoner now.
Yeah, Shu going for the flash this time around. He's not going to get stunned up and actually just dashes away.
Wirklich.
I almost feel like Dudu went a little, like a slight...
Nein, ich habe mir gedacht, dass Pioshik da auf jeden Fall rein IQen sollte.
As Duck Dom double summoner just kind of smashing both of those at the same time.
Ist das genau das letzte Mal ein ähnliches Item? Ja.
Definitely the right play.
Auch ein Schienen-Item auf jeden Fall, ja.
To use his barrier.
Yeah, I didn't really end up blocking anything, but perhaps just a bit of a panic there. Lucid is going to steal these Raptors away with the mid-prio they have. Showmaker really controlling this lane quite aggressively, even though the CS is dead even. Allows moves like this to be made. This bottom lane, every time we look at it, we're like, well, the Ash Braum was great at level 1.
Ja, der Braunpick, der stört mich. Ich sehe es im Greater Scheme of Things gegen die Topside, aber der Braunpick stört mich. Ja, aber beides bauen, beides Schienen-Items, das heißt, sie neutralisieren sich. Und ich weiß gar nicht, ob man sie zusammen, aber ich weiß gar nicht, ob man noch 2 Schienen-Items kaufen kann, aber... Ich weiß gar nicht, ob man 2 Schienen-Items noch kaufen kann, weil früher konnte man das, aber ja. Man kann nur eine Schiene-Item bauen, okay.
You know, 15 CS here, especially after Shiu gets this wave, so...
And Shiu he got the first plate, and we'll get a second one as soon as that wave crashes. And so this is a pretty significant lead in terms of top quest progression for Shiu, which matters a lot for Gwen, who's already about a third of a level ahead here.
Riesiges Problem. Münzwort ziehen wir uns ab. Kopf oder Zahl.
Side lanes, there isn't a great answer here for the side of DNS. You know, maybe Ducktom getting an arrow as closers...
Da haben wir Halo Blades Trade.
Yeah, and Showmaker with that extra movement speed is going to make things even more annoying for the Syndra. Mentioned the ult, you know, the way the ults interact with each other, but at the same time, Showmaker on the Echo, once you get that combo in, you're just so fast, and it's very difficult for Syndra to do much except press R, which also doesn't work in Echo. So you're just kind of sitting there farming with no kill pressure.
It is very annoying as closer here, just trying to get your splinters in.
Fast mein IP geleakt. Das wäre nicht sehr gut gewesen. Das war ganz knapp vor Router Restart. Hui. Das war knapp. Muss nicht selber drücken? Nö, es rollt automatisch.
And Smash has flash, and he's basically under turret. So he's just gonna chill here while Lucid's like, all right, grubbing it up. He's still waiting. Small wronging.
The long game here, as eventually they're going to get this combo.
Career hat kein Cleanse.
Very nicely
Wow.
as even able to interrupt with the Cataclysm is Pyosik, so they do get that kill down. As you mentioned, a lot of time spent.
Hatte kein Cleanse ausgewählt, ne? Oder konnte kein Cleanse auswählen?
I mean, they took so much damage on the trade back. It's kind of difficult to start Dragon here. But I think they might have needed to do something like that, even though Showmaker has Prio in mid, because that kill alone isn't enough. Career doesn't flash. That was a really well-played setup there for Pyosik. They set up the arrow, like, okay, this Rakan is super slippery, but if we play this just right, we should be able to get the kill.
Ja, ich weiß, ob das Beabsichtigt war mit dem Cancel, aber...
So a ton of value in terms of that there on the bottom side, but...
Ist auf jeden Fall wieder big. Und das ist mein Problem auch mit Varus. Der ist einfach so ein laufender Free Flash für Jarvans. Oder irgendwas really in der Meta.
So watch this again. Pyosik plays this incredibly well. Career steps forward, gets hit by the flag and drag into the arrow, and then watch this.
Jetzt kennst du da die Ulti, ne? Oh.
Really well played. Secures the kill there.
Ja, ich glaube, es war nicht beabsichtigt, ihn zu canceln, to be fair, aber.
Yeah, it's nicely done.
Trotzdem gut.
As you mentioned, not sure if worth. Not able to get the dragon, and Lucid himself. I saw him moving up towards the top side of the map. I thought maybe looking to put pressure on the dude who did finish his first item, the Sundered Sky, so is going to be pretty strong right now, the Xinjiao, although Pyosik just finished his as well.
Sagen wir mal, es war gewollt. Okay.
Dusk and Dawn, double on hit. Get ready to wind it up. And we have seen, you know, that kill.
Ja, Dusk and Dawn fertig. Ich würde gerne Around Midlane so ein bisschen Trade sehen, aber da passiert nicht so viel. Career, du bist am Feeden, ne? Smash ist tot. Oh, ist noch guten Damage rausgeholt, aber... Ich frage mich, ob sie swappen. Aber sie haben keine Quest fertig. Ist nicht geil. Keine Quest fertig, aber... Unangenehm.
Career tries his best to peel with his ultimate there, but really not enough he can do, and that's just a free dragon. Showmaker didn't have teleport and did not have enough control to rotate over. It was a very quick call from Pyosik, who's been very decisive throughout this series, despite losing in game one. Gets onto Career, gets his flash, and then it's a free Cataclysm on the double because he knows, okay, there's no flash on the Rakan. And if he tries to peel, it's not going to be enough. There's no flash on the Varus. 2 kills go over and Lucid
gut gepunished.
Watch on.
Ja, die wollen ASAP den Varus, also Quest fertig und Varus direkt mit schicken. Wann fängt so der Faker-Loss an? Wow, wir gehen mal davon aus, dass Damon hier gewinnt. Also um
eventually he'll just be
10:40.
he is going lethality, which makes
Pi mal Daumen. 10:40, 10:50.
they have the damage to deal with Sion. They don't need the Varus. So now
Ich wollte jetzt auf Insta, das ist super lieb.
the enemy jungle, as that's going to miss, but Koshik was pretty far away regardless. As, he's like, please skill your ultimate.
Ja,
Okay.
dann haben wir die Interaktion.
And
He pressed R.
he did. He pressed R.
And then Showmaker pressed R in response. Trigger pressed Control R first, of course.
Yes.
And this is, every time we watch this, I'm like, ooh, man, Year of Doo-Doo may have been a little overstated. I'm being a bit facetious because he's playing. It's still early.
Junta auf Ash, wir haben einiges gesehen. Ich habe schon Essensschieber gesehen.
It's about Doo-Doo or about
War das nicht sogar Doktor mit Essensschieber? Der Freak, auf einmal spielt das nicht mehr.
should.
Yeah.
Der News, tamam.
The issue
Cannabis behandelbar, ja.
it's
Cannabis
more
behandelbar.
like you're giving Shiu a free lane, and I think that's always a mistake. Like, this is the guy that will make your life hell from the top lane.
I look at the draft of D+, and even though it's somewhat uncharted territory with this Echo, and Xin Zhao is a little bit weaker, it has moving parts that we understand, and we know how this draft should function, right? When you look at the draft of DNS, you're like, I'm not really sure what the game plan is. Is it a front to back with
Quest fertig, sofort den Varus in die Mitte schicken.
I guess it's a pick.
Raus aus dieser Scheiß-Lane.
And it's just so slow and clunky. And D+
Also die-
making proactive moves. I mean,
Sofort raus aus dieser Lane.
insanely proactive moves to try to control this early game. But you keep wondering, is it going to be enough? And will this Gwyn ever be conquerable in sides? Starts to really feel like the answer to that is likely going to be a resounding no as this game goes on. The Echo also going to be another issue to solve in sides as well.
I just think they don't really have an answer for the Gwen, and the fact that she is immune. The Syndra's not really going to be able to keep her at bay. She can decide whether Ash can do that. And then, of course, the Sion just gets shredded down. And she can dash over the Cataclysm. There's really not a good answer once we get into team fights, especially if he gets a good flank. With how fed he is already. Looks like he finally went for a back, finished that Riftmaker.
Gut.
Showmaker is ready.
Smash auf Mitte ist sehr wichtig.
Side lane.
Echo auf Side ist richtig nice. Gegen. Wow. Okay, jetzt fixen sie das Matchup. Gegen Syndra auf Side, weil Lane lang ist.
On the top side river.
Und Varus auf Mitte ist weniger angreifbar.
They also have
gut.
Closer up here. TP will come through from Showmaker after he picks up his Merc Treads. This quest completed now. Very incredibly strong item, by the way, on this patch.
Yeah, upgraded Merc Treads. Pretty good stuff. And see how we've kind of quieted down outside of the two Pyoshik ganks. We do have the Rift Herald spawning now. So maybe both teams will have a crack at that. Pyoshik, got to be careful, especially around the Rakan. As Showmaker nearby can do an immense amount of damage. And yeah, not starting up the Rift Herald, but showing a lot of presence on the top side of the map.
Kein Trading. Grrr. Stormrazor Ash.
This one, the knockup comes in. They don't have a ton of damage, but eventually Life is going to have to do something as in goes Pyoshik. The turnaround goes
Du hast eine Ulti.
They finally get the flash out of the Braum. As we got a 1v1 up on the top side, 1v1 on the bottom side, as Smash is trying to just keep Duck Dom at bay, and he should be able to do that. It looks like Pyoshik gets away with the flash.
Die Kuh nicht gecancelt bekommen. Heavy Trading, dafür Herald weg.
He is pretty low, and that just means Lucid gets the free objective.
Yeah, I mean, that was so non-committal for D+. So like,
Gut von Lucid bisher gespielt, also relativ
basic ability
wenig, sage ich mal, gemacht, außer dem Botlane-Gank, dem Botlane-Counter-Gank.
access in.
Aber dafür effizient gefarmt. Ein Level komplett ahead, 1,5 Level sogar.
Like, all right, I'm using my sums, I'm out of here. And that means the free Herald does go over, as you say. Closer can't really do anything here. You're gonna look for a scatter.
Also ich sage, ich habe in Solo-Queue gegen diese
Oh, you got Duck Dom trying to make things interesting into career, but career.
Echoes of Helia Diadem-Kombo gespielt und das ist schon sehr nasty.
Take much of a look at the bottom lane, but we all know how that one's going.
Und ich glaube, das ist nur eine Frage der Zeit, bis Pros es auch spielen. Ehrlich gesagt.
CS lead down there.
Das ist schon extrem nasty.
Components for Nashor's Tooth coming in second here.
Aber in Gage-Supports machen die halt das Spiel relativ leicht in Solo-Queue. Im Pro-Play.
Back Riftmaker first, so nothing too crazy thus far for this Gwen. And that top lane turret, not long for this world, and you can see the answer for Closer in this bottom lane for Showmaker isn't there yet. He's got that home guard.
Pro-Play, ich bin alles außer Pro-Player.
Might just be gone. They have to send two people down to defend.
Das
And
ist
they don't have control really anywhere on the map. You can see, like, in mid, there's a small modicum of control. And Showmaker plays this safe, scouts Pyoshik, pushes him out.
Oh, they're just going to turn on the Life here in transition. He doesn't have any sums, as you talked about in the last fight, and that's just going to be given over to Smash. So not sure exactly how they got caught there. It looks like he put down a control ward and they just got jumped. So got to be careful where you're walking with no sums life. Otherwise that will happen, and that's just going to mean kind of another just free objective given over to D plus Kia.
Yeah, and Pioshik, I mean, he wanted to try to make something happen to Showmaker. He's unable to do so.
Ja, dieses Double Mercs Upgrade auf Mitte ist schon insanely lame. Also du machst halt wirklich so wenig Damage. Macht Sinn, Hell of Blades auf Echo zu nehmen, wenn man das neue Schiene hat? Ja, ist für Lane gut. Short Trades auf Lane ist ziemlich nice. Natürlich später dann nicht so geil gegen... Wow. Später nicht so geil mit das... Also, was heißt nicht so geil, aber später mit Dusk und Dawn ist so ein bisschen ausgeglichen, aber ja. Early Train is nice.
And the jungle is being taken away by Lucid. Like D+ have a stranglehold on DNS, and it feels like it just happened suddenly. You know, as these really strong pushing champions start to get their items online. The tier 3 boots for Showmaker makes it so difficult for Syndra to harass at this stage. Doesn't have full splinters. The Gwen, that's such a problem in sides. And they're just kind of taking those pressure points and applying them. This is what happened to Life. Just moments before, too far forward here without summoners. He's Braum, but I mean, they just don't have. It's a numbers game they can't win. With Showmaker having control of the bottom side that entire time, and
dass er einen Kill mehr hat, aber trotzdem 3 Karriere brennt, ja.
Peel or help out, and maybe we just ask for a little more caution for Life, I guess, is the end result. But you can see the snowball effect of this is quite significant.
Showmaker just picks up that late red buff. That was taken by Lucid. We did see the difference in levels between our junglers. As Lucid ahead about a
Stormrazor into also Fiend Hunter, das kann nicht richtig sein. Wieder mal, dieser Itembild von Dr. Es kann nicht richtig sein. Nee, das geht gar nicht.
And has fallen behind pretty significantly in levels and in farm.
I mean, at least Career didn't steal his Scuttle.
Nee. Nicht zufrieden damit, das kann nicht gut sein.
Yeah, I mean, this Jarvan is...
Aber ja, also die haben halt keine Antwort auf Sideline. Also beide Sidelines sind losing, die haben keine Antworten drauf. Weiß nicht, wie sie das Spiel wollen. Die müssen irgendwo insane Teamfights finden, aber ich glaube, das wird nicht möglich sein.
And Mikhail's means that the lack of cleanse here for Smash means very little.
Plates sind bis zum Ende vom Game. Wurde geändert. Und Kristalle bei den Türmen, wenn du den Schild nicht hittest, bauen sie sich auf. Wenn du den Schild erstmal auto-text, werden dann die Kristalle aufgelöst. Schöner harter Gash. Wenn die Kristalle aufgelöst und du bekommst eben True Damage am Schild. Ja, GG wahrscheinlich. Realistisch GG.
Quick engage was just too much for them to handle.
Ja, das sind die Quests. Die Symbole unter den Teamnamen, ja. Das ist richtig.
None of that.
The most fun part was when he had to press Control R and then press R and avoid Syndra's soul damage. And that was it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, he practically could have been playing anything in this game. Let's the Lucid show.
And Pioshik just trying to stick around to defend the turret was never going to be able to.
Ja. Das wird ein Stomp. Das wird ein harter Stomp, wahrscheinlich auch wieder 25, 26 Minuten.
And there really hasn't been a lot of, game-turning moments in this one.
I mean, D+ have so much control over the map.
7K gold.
This comp has to function around like CC into CC into CC to win. And when you have no map control, you can't see where to set up that CC chain. You can't team fight. You can't even exist on the map, really. As between Lucid and this engage from Career, can't even be near your mid-turret. We're too far away, I suppose. The engage is so real, it's so strong here for this D+ comp, and it's starting to feel like
Dämonisch, aber für alle quasi, ja.
5v5 fight for this Ashe that does have 2 items. I suppose.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to happen. And we also saw there a good example of how much Braum can struggle into Rakan, where you're just kind of standing there and accepting the brunt of the damage and no way to avoid it. And you're not protecting your AD carry either because you just kind of get grouped up in the charm and you don't end up doing all too much. As they're trying to get on top of Career here, I guess. But that's not going to happen. We've already figured that out.
Shadow Flame for Showmaker. He broke the Merc Tread shield. I want to see more Echo gameplay. He got the stun. It was cool.
Yeah.
And then he broke the shield, and we go back to watching where things are more relevant elsewhere.
And, I mean, they are relevant over here, but at the same time, it just feels like kind of beating a dead horse at this time without actually getting any kills. And it's just kind of exerting all that map control that you have and not allowing your opponents to play the game and just suffocating them. Did a bit of damage there, okay. Smash is also going to be forced.
Walking Free Flash, aber mehr kriegst du auch nicht hin. Und dann bist du halt hard committed. Ja. Gut von Career gespielt, wenn er rauskommt. Lucid hat eine Ulti. Wow, er commit. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Und er lebt da, oder was? Okay, no, Moment. Schöne Ulti von Sivu. Lecker. Gut gespielt. Anker auf Closer, Loons Ecke über Blackfire Torch in dem Game. Ich weiß es nicht. Upgraded, vor allem mit Upgraded Mercs, die sind so OP. Also mal davon abgesehen, dass sie auch 4 Dinge so haben, aber das ist respektlos, wie OP die sind. Ja, haben wir ein bisschen kommen sehen. Haben wir ein bisschen kommen sehen, aber ist okay.
He waits to use his flash, baits them in further, then the rotation comes over, and then watch this from Lucid. God, the guy is definitely POM, like no question in this one. Just goes to the other side, gets the double knockback. Ducktom can't kill him. Then Closer gets the kill onto Career, but he's actually used his ultimate that way. And then the collapse of everyone else comes in. And it's just a well-oiled machine the way the rest of this team fight plays out. Like Shiu's just chasing down, gets the turn onto Closer here. Snipe comes through from Smash. And D+ will take no prisoners.
Yeah, they definitely didn't. We got to see a little bit of burst out of the Echo in that fight that you were asking for, Wolf. And it was on to the Ashe, who didn't have flash and had like 30% health. But that 30% went away very quickly, actually all at once, to the Echo. And especially with the double flank coming in from the solo laners was really just impossible to deal with when you're playing Ashe, Syndra.
And you know what, Rakan? He's Bandle piping. Just wanted to mention it.
Yeah.
Also Ulti Showmaker.
Bandle piping. As the Cataclysm is going to stop Dudu from getting in. Showmaker's
Echo schon sehr, 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 sehr geiler Champion, sind wir mal ehrlich. Auch cool zum Zuschauen. Ist Echo wieder gut im Pro-Play, ist Specific Pick gegen Syndra. Ich weiß nicht, ob er allgemein gut ist, aber auf jeden Fall gegen Syndra.
Going to hit it. And this is where DK just kind of turned into the Harlem Globetrotters, and they just begin to really make their opponents look silly. As in they go, Ducktom, they're sending everything in the kitchen sink beyond that one. As Life and Dudu, they did their best, but their best was definitely not enough. As the first game was 25 minutes, it looks like this one will be very slightly longer, but it's still just as dominant. As there you have it, D+ Kia will be taking the 2-0 here tonight over the DN Supers.
Pick it up right where they left off.
Ja, erwartet. Also erwartet, aber nicht erwartet, dass es so schnell geht. Also 24, 25 Minuten ist schon krank. 1 Stunde, 19 Minuten für ein Best of 3. Ist schon verrückt. Mit Pause.